Hey everybody, Jeff Morrell here. I am live with my good friend out of Texas, Aaron Kinn. Aaron, welcome aboard. How you
How are
doing?
you doing?
I'm good.
Good, good.
Busy. The news came out today here. We're doing this here November 3rd. This big Zillow news that's out there. All the realtors are going crazy because Zillow's on the run. So
Well, yeah, Zillow,
a little bit.
$550 million hiccup. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So anyway, but no, big things are happening all over the place. So I appreciate you getting on here, man. You and I go way back, and I wanted to get you on here just so we can talk a little bit, share some of your story, and we're kind of wrapping up 2022 or 2021 here, getting ready to go into the next year, and whatever big things going on in a lot of different ways in real estate. So can you share with everybody, just share some of your story, what your journey in real estate? I mean,
sure.
share what's been going on with you.
Well, so I've been in real estate for 20 years. Before I got into real estate, I was a junior high and high school art teacher and baseball, basketball coach. So perfect training to get into real estate, and actually I joke about that, but a lot of times teachers do actually make really good real estate agents because
Sure.
you have to learn to present all different personality styles when you're educating or teaching, also when you're in real estate. So it actually is a pretty good transition. But the business mindset and all of that was a little bit more to overcome, I guess. So I've been doing this for 20 years. I got lucky. I fell into Craig Proctor coaching, in 03. So just a couple years after I got into real estate. And that really catapulted my business. I learned how to market. I learned how to talk to buyers and sellers, how to do presentations. I know before I went to any of Craig's stuff, of my first 13 listing presentations, I got 0 in 2 years. So I was buyer only.
You sucked.
I know, terrible. First couple of years, yeah. So I changed that and got coaching, which I think is extremely important. And that catapulted me from that point forward. I've sold like 59 homes the next year, 83. Then every year since then, I've been over 100. This year, the same. We'll do about 35 to 40 million. And that's with a small team of 3, me, my wife, my son, and a couple admin. And I do have a couple new buyers agents that have just come on. So they're going to be added to that as well too.
Okay.
But I started my journey at a little small Prudential office that's no longer around. Got recruited to Keller Williams like everybody else. Hey, we got a cap. And I'm like, what's a cap? And holy cow, I paid my broker $60,000. You're going to cap it at 21. I'm in. So I went to Keller Williams. I was there from 03 to 09. And I left in 09 at the worst market in the world, the height of the foreclosure crisis. But that was one of the reasons I left, was to get REO accounts. And I set up my own brokerage. So left the safety and comfort of Keller Williams and, the camaraderie and all that other stuff. Nothing against Keller Williams at all. Great company. But I knew for me to take the next step, I had to go out on my own, be my own broker owner. So I was my own broker owner from 09 to 2018. And they both of those moves happened April 1st. It's just kind of weird. But so April 1st of 2018, I came over to EXP after I got a call from you about a month and a half prior, and did my due diligence and research on the company. And I tried to poke holes in it, but I couldn't really poke any. Everything just made sense from the standpoint of adding some residual income basis, having long-term leverage through stock, which I didn't have. Unfortunately, been doing this for a long time, and I'd always reinvest into my business. I think that's the biggest problem most real estate agents have, is they always want to get better, bigger, stronger, sell more homes, make more money. And then we reinvest that money over and over again into our business. And we never cash out at the end of the day or pay ourselves first. If you read a lot of any, wealthy people, that's what they say, is pay yourself first. Well, I thought paying myself first was growing my business bigger. But at the end of the day, you don't have anything. So when the market tanks, you're in trouble. So I saw EXP and I was like, holy cow, this makes total sense. I can pay myself first through their stock program, get rewards through that, and also build a little bit of residual and operate my business the exact same way. Nothing changed. So what I was doing as a broker, I could do with EXP as a team lead of my own team. The only thing that changed was my overhead. I didn't have to have the building anymore. I didn't have to have the admin stuff when somebody would walk in the front door, which happened once every 3 weeks. You didn't have to have those expenses. E&O insurance. I wasn't carrying all the freight. So back then I had 10 agents. If they got sued, guess who got sued? It was me. If they did something wrong, guess who was in the wrong? It was me. It wasn't them. They could easily pick up, move to another brokerage and wash their hands of it. I couldn't. So that's kind of my long story short on the real estate career. Sold 3,000 homes during that period of time.
Sure. What was it like? I mean, so you had 10 agents in your brokerage?
My most ever, I had 12 agents at one time.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge with that? There's a lot of perks to it. There's a lot of pluses to it, I think, in the sense
the leverage part was awesome.
The leverage part was good.
Yeah. I mean, being able to have time freedom, I could go and do, and my business was still kind of running the same way. I know Kiyosaki has a great quote in his Rich Dad Poor Dad book about what an actual business is if you leave for 6 months, your business should be at or above where it is when you left. That would never have happened. I've never been able to achieve that. But I was able to, leave for short periods of time, a vacation or something. And I knew that I could, pass off listing appointments, buyer's appointments, things like that. And business would still get done. The biggest problem was, though, it was always, it's kind of a bad way to say it, but it was always like adult daycare, especially the more you got, because you're begging them to do what they're supposed to do to make them money. And you're spending a lot of money to provide them leads, appointments, facilities, admin to help them. So all they have to do is sell, and they still don't sell. It's just human nature. Only 20% of them do. The rest of them don't. And it's how long you keep those. And I always have had good relationships with everybody that I've brought in and didn't want to burn bridges, so to speak. So I was very family oriented, and I wasn't the hard, like, you're going to make your 100 calls today or you're out of here. I've never been that guy.
Right. So when you had, again, the biggest 12 agents, 10 agents, right around there, how much did you deal with, did you deal a lot with, how many times a year maybe, or how many times have you been to like mediation or been sued? Was that a real issue for you?
That was a big issue. I've only been sued one time, and it happened from one of my agents.
Okay.
They left a listing on not the MLS. It got canceled out of there, but they left it on social media sites for way over a year longer than when it was expired.
Right.
I think it was kind of BS. If it was me, it was a technicality. The guy said that we impacted his ability to sell because he was trying to sell it for $2 million more than we had it listed for, a year prior. And so he filed suit, and to make things go away, said, you're in the wrong because you didn't clean it, me as the broker, but I didn't know it was out there. So it cost me, my deductible, cost the insurance money. And then my deductible skyrocketed from there. So it was going to go from, I think it was like $6,200 a year to like $36,000 a year. Okay. Pretty big.
Would you say in terms of just, and again, because I know you've had a team for a long time, essentially your brokerage, even, whatever, would you say has that been your biggest headache?
That was the number one headache, as far as just from a stress standpoint. Number two would just be the overall overhead. Having a building, having staff, having to supply a huge team with the business I thought they needed in order to get business done.
Right.
And then taking home at the end of the day, much less than if I just had sold an eighth of the homes. Like if I would have sold just what I was selling every year with like maybe one admin to help me out, even when I had the big team, I would have made more money than having the big team. Like I was floating the brokerage,
right.
Which isn't a business,
Yeah, for sure. How have things changed? When did you join EXP?
2018, April. Yeah.
April 2018.
Yeah.
How have things changed for you? How has this helped take away some of the stress?
Yeah, because I didn't know that. Number one, I didn't think or know that real estate could be done remotely. I thought, you had to meet face to face, have an office, have a place to go. I think COVID has shown us, more than anything, that EXP was onto something well before that happened. We were prepared to take advantage of COVID when it happened, and we did. Our business has never been better than the last 2 years. Because we already had all the systems in place on how to work remotely, how to do things through Zoom and DocuSign and all the things. So that was one big thing that was different, is a mindset shift. The second thing was just the other ways that, we earn an income, like talk about residual and stock. I mean,
tell everybody your stock story, because you have an amazing stock story.
The stock story is, crazy. I mean, obviously we can't predict future results or what prices are and what the net value is, those fluctuate continually. But I mean, I got in at a good time, 3.5 years ago. I'm a producer, so I knew I was going to be what's called an icon with EXP. So I knew I was going to get my $16,000 in back in the form of stock. So that was enticing to me, because that was like, okay, I'm just going to fund my retirement on something I would have normally paid anyways, $16,000 at a time. So if I work 20 more years as a real estate agent and I icon every year, that's a pretty good $320,000 chunk. If it does nothing, if it stays flat, I have 320 grand sitting for me when I want to retire. Well, it's done much better than that. And we get to purchase stock every time we sell a home, and we've got around 17,000 shares of stock, plus or minus a couple numbers there, but right around 17,000 shares of stock. Take it times the stock price, and you get a good idea of what our stock's worth. It's phenomenal. So I know I have that sitting, and I'm not worried about retirement. I know I could retire and have money there. I was always worried about retirement. Do I have to buy investment properties? Do I have, what's the way a realtor retires? And the problem is, most of the times it's in a coffin. Nobody retires I've never been to a realtor's retirement party, right?
Yeah.
Ever. They don't retire because we're not forced to put things back. We don't have 401ks. We don't have things like that. That's where this company was so forward thinking. I'm like, hey, we can give you the ability to do that if that's what you want to do. If you want to work till your dying day, you can do that as well. But it definitely gave me that freedom, and it's changed, one, my outlook on real estate, and two, the outlook on my life within it or after it.
Yeah. Where do you see yourself going with EXP? Where would you, and with your real estate business, where do you want to be, 5 years from now? What would it look like for you?
I mean, 5 years from now, I probably will still be doing around the same production. Possibly maybe a little bit different. I may slow down a little bit, simply from my youngest daughter is going to be graduating in about 5 years. So I will have that time freedom that I've never had because I have 4 kids. So going to all their events and everything, you're pretty much strapped to this area and this. So location may change. My wife and I were married in Hawaii. So maybe a part where we spend part of the year in Hawaii, part of the year wherever our kids move to, So and then the cool thing about EXP too is I don't have to pay a cap in every one of those places I go. I just have to get a real estate license or get a team there and stamp it and do the exact same thing. So not that I want to work as hard or harder when I'm 5 years from now, but I think I have that flexibility if I need it.
Sure. That's awesome. We'll wrap it up here. What would you say to, other broker owners that are out there? There's over 200,000 independent broker owners across the country.
Right.
NAR stat. We've had a couple hundred join us in the last 12 months here at EXP. Everything from the mom and pop, this 2 agents, little
like
mom and pop shop.
Yeah.
To, Chuck Fazio with his group, 900 agents out there, Revelation Real Estate out of Arizona, all different sizes, all different levels of production, everything. But what would you say to some of those independent broker owners out there that, either haven't seen this before and maybe they're kind of like this and they really want to look at it, whatever, or maybe they have looked at it and they're just trying to figure it out? I mean, what would you say to those brokers?
Honestly, I'd say just realistically look at the numbers. What are the numbers telling you? And if you can pencil out your production, still in production, especially if you're a mom and pop, I know you're still in production. If you have less than 5 team members, I know you're in production. Take your production out and see where your business is. And that's a big thing, so I would say that, and then look deep into the numbers, look at all the technology and all the add-ons, the long-term, right? I projected out, long-term, I thought I was going to be this, big broker or whatever when I started it. And then I decided, no, that's too much when I got to 10 or 12, and I tapered it back to like 6 or 8. And that was still even too much. I didn't like the babysitting all the agents' problems because I was babysitting their problems and not doing my own business. So it was cutting into me deep. So I looked at long-term, where am I going to be 5-10 years from now as this broker owner? I'm going to be in the exact same spot. Even if the market gets great, I'm going to be in the exact same spot. If it goes bad, it's going to be worse. So I did the same thing with EXP. I said, hey, what happens in 5 or 10 years if this builds? Oh my gosh, I've got something sitting aside. And most people say, well, yeah, you could have just put your own 5% back, but you don't, Yeah, I've known to put 5 or 10% back and put it in the stock market, but you don't. When things get tough, what do? You go grab that, or you go pay this off or that off, or, oh, there's some new shiny nickel IDX system you need, so you go buy that. We talked about Zillow earlier. You go buy Zillow leads, which is crazy. I've done it. So no one really puts stuff back, and this forces you to. I called it forced retirement, which is not the right way to call it, but it kind of is. They're forcing you to do something good for yourself and your family.
Yeah, for sure. Well, good stuff, man. Well, I appreciate your time. I appreciate you getting on here, sharing some things. I know, there's big things going on, and it's been great having you on board with us.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Aaron and I go back. I met you at the Craig Proctor conference myself. So we go back about 20 years now.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So, and having a good time along the way. So it's been a lot of fun, but it's great having you here. We were all in Cabo last April. We're going again here in, when is that, March? I think March.
So, yeah.
Going back to Cabo. Excited about that. So, yeah, a lot of fun stuff. So anyway, Aaron, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great having you on board. Guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for your time taking a look here. Just keep watching our Facebook page, LinkedIn, YouTube. We're going to be going live all over the place. There's just so much going on here. It's hard not to want to share it with everybody. So anyway, if you want to find out more and you really want to take your business to the next level, you can see it down at the bottom of the screen. We'll put it in the comments as well. You can go to a website that I've got set up, jeffmorrell.work. Aaron Kinn, Aaron's got his website as well. It's very similar, aaronkinn.work. Those of you who know Aaron and friends with Aaron, just, go check it out. Just get some of the info, see what's going on over here, why we're growing 1,000 agents a week. There's just big things happening. So anyway, have a good rest of your day, good rest of your weekend. Appreciate it.
All right. Okay. You too.
Thanks, guys.